Let's dive into the nitty-gritty.
So this movie was released on January something or other. This movie was released January 2020. So it was one of the first, one of the only movies that got released before the pandemic hit. One of the lucky few, but it didn't go into theaters. It doesn't really seem like, according to the box office mojo stuff, it only went to 81 theaters. So I think it was just kind of like an art house release.
Yeah.
They estimated the budget to be $6 million, but it says between 6 and 12. I don't know how you have that much of a discrepancy in the budget.
I think a lot of it's not published, so it's an estimate.
So it only made back $1 million through the box office, but it has since become like a streaming and rental classic, kind of a cult classic. It was directed by the great Richard Stanley, who is a bit of a legend when it comes to filmmaking. He famously got fired from The Island of Dr. Moreau, that movie with Marlon Brando, and I think Val Kilmer. Wasn't Val Kilmer was in that?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Not the best movie, but he was fired like halfway through for being kind of a dick.
When I saw that name, I thought it was I thought that was the fake name that directors put on movies when they don't want to be associated with it. But I just realized that's Alan Smithy. It's like the fake name that they'll throw on a movie if they don't want to be in it. So when I saw that in the credits, I was like, did this guy not want to be known for anything for this movie?
He hasn't directed a movie in 24 years. So that was the last thing he was associated with. And everybody, Hardware, that movie is like a cult classic that everybody loves. It's like a great horror movie from, I think it was the early 90s or the late 80s. And Richard Stanley became kind of a legend in Hollywood for that. But then once he got fired from Island of Dr. Moreau, which there is an entire documentary about his implosion, his career just falling apart. So that's worth your time at some point. He wrote it with his wife, which we'll get into in the quick facts. I'll get to it when I get there. Of course, this movie is based on The Color Out of Space by the legendary HP Lovecraft. One of the few Lovecraft movies that's really made it into like a mainstream style movie. I mean, Lovecraft is legendarily hard to adapt to film because half the time he doesn't explain anything. He just kind of says, well, it's inexplainable. Mm-hmm. Like The Color is something that nobody has ever seen. So
how do you film it?
How do you film something that's indescribable? It was shot by Steve Annis, who really hasn't shot a ton of movies, but he shot a ton of music videos, which actually explains a lot about the visuals in this movie.
That makes sense.
At one point, I actually wrote, because I was doing the third act, but the finale was like an early 2000s music video CGI. Something was happening. So that really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I guess the climax, not the finale, but
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of mentioned it in the script, or in the breakdown, that it feels like a Tool video at one point.
Oh yeah.
So it has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 86%, which is by far the highest rated of any of the movies that we've done so far, out of the 5 that we've done. 6.71 out of 10. For that is 176 reviews. So almost universally across the board loved by the critics.
Yeah, that's I did not expect that.
Yeah, audience score is also 82%. So, even though this movie is kind of like hard to wrap your head around, for the most part, everybody really loved the movie. And then the Metacritic score is 70%, which is, I think it was, it's about the same ratio as the Rotten Tomatoes score as far as like what the reviews were. So Metacritic seems like they're just a little bit different in how they rank things.